Today, other interesting political news, you have Vivek on Keith Olbermann calling for the Supreme Court to be dissolved after ruling 9-0 that Trump can in fact be on all 50 state ballots to run for presidential office. Now, again, it's not too surprising. We've seen this trend more and more in United States politics, particularly for people who are leftists. And again, I always make the distinction. I have many liberal friends who, they agree with the Supreme Court decision. And just like how you people have people on the far right, you also have people who are on the far left. And a lot of people on the far left is a big theme of, if we lose, that means the game was rigged. It wasn't because we had our policies or prescriptions were not favorable to certain Americans. It wasn't because our messaging wasn't on point or we just didn't have the right methodology to fix a certain problem that Americans want solved. Nope, it's usually, the game is rigged, so we have to change everything and use every power possible to, what's a nice way of saying, fix the game or manipulate it, those things. Now, Vivek is responding. Now, Keith Olbermann originally said, and this got, as the youth may say, went viral, got 10.1 million views in the first 24 hours. So granted, it had a couple days, but this is Keith Olbermann, and he says, quote, "The Supreme Court has betrayed democracy. Its members, including Jackson, Kagan, and Sotomayor, have proved themselves inept at reading comprehension. And collectively, the, quote, court has shown itself to be corrupt and illegitimate and must be dissolved," unquote. Now, I don't want to say it was hilariously ratioed, but Keith Olbermann of the 10.1 million views only got 10,000 likes. And truth be told, one of the top comments where he was ratioed viscerally, this is at over 2-to-1 ratio, is from the red-headed libertarian who gets an A+ for marketing. She is, in fact, red-headed and a libertarian. She says, quote, "Dissolve the separation of powers to save democracy?" Question mark. I got 26,000 likes. So yes, Keith Olbermann was ratioed, to say the least. And again, who do you think is more apt at actually reading and comprehending documents of the Founding Fathers? A random, and apparently Keith Olbermann is a random sports balls analysis, or someone who their whole life has studied law and actually studied the Constitution, studied those documents? Granted, that's not all the Supreme Court. That is many of the Supreme Court. And again, it was a unanimous decision. I'm not surprised there are people who are crying and angry at it, but if anything, it should unite Americans because, again, even the farthest leftist people on the Supreme Court agreed. They all came together and they agreed. Now, going to the response from Vivek, let's see here really quick. Now, he responded to Keith Olbermann, and he says, he uses the quote of Keith really quick, saying it must be devolved, and Vivek says, quote, "Open your eyes to which side is trying to overthrow our republic," unquote. Now, Vivek got 1.2 million views, but unlike Keith, he got 46,000 likes, which is, I know public schools are all-time low for, mathematics, science, history, ACT scores at a 32-year low, and yet they say teachers unions deserve more money. So that is about 4 times as much, which is astronomical to say the least, considering he got a 10th or 1 out of 10th of Keith's actual views. So Vivek was vindicated, which the fact that, again, I know he's not officially running for president anymore, he dropped out, but I was going to say, how does he not have t-shirts and mugs that say, Vivek vindicates? Something to that effect, and he just talks about, the top 10 bullet points where he's gotten right. Because, truth be told, those bullet points seem to be adding up more and more. Now, yeah, it's quite literally a thing we've talked about earlier where, yes, if you're losing at the game, you want to rewrite the rules. Well, why is it always people, again, you have people on the far right and on the far left, why is it always the extremists who want to do that? Now, going to the comment section, I suspect most people will be overwhelmingly in support of Vivek, but perhaps there's maybe a contrarian or two. So diving into the comments, you have Paul Zazupa saying, quote, "Full post since the first it must be dissolved part got cropped in the repost. Keith Olbermann isn't exactly what you call a stable person, so if he's ranting against something, you know that something is probably a good thing. Olbermann is a crybaby. Here's his thing." And that got 125 likes. Phil Rizzo says, quote, "The 9-0 SCOTUS ruling in Trump's favor just empowered him. No doubt he can now steal the 2024 election. The 3-point way to stop it is 1, in-day in-person voting, 2, paper ballots hand counted, 3, universal voter ID for citizens. Implement now and secure the 2024 election," unquote, getting 357 likes. Dr. Etiquette says, quote, "Boy, the Marxist communists are really exposing themselves today," getting 160 likes. Yeah, Burt Macklin saying, quote, "At least they aren't talking about expanding the court anymore," getting 56 likes. Which, Yes, they aren't. They're actually talking about dissolving it. Because remember, it seems like only yesterday, but it's a lifetime ago in politics. There's a while where actually Biden was not saying no to just expanding the Supreme Court to quote unquote pack it, so that way they can have a majority again. Which again, changing the when you're losing legitimately, changing the rules so you could win. Now scrolling down, you have a couple more. You have Deep State saying Keith is always good for a laugh, unquote, getting 40 likes. Let's see here. Uncommon Sense says, quote, has anyone noticed in the Matrix that the red pill is opening your eyes, but the blue pill is staying in the Matrix and believing all the propaganda you are fed? Red equals Republicans, blue equals Democrats. The pills are colored correctly, unquote. Getting 58 likes. Though, the sad part is, or the disappointing part, is that there are a lot of Republicans in name only, which are pejoratively known as rhinos, because they say they're Republican, but then when they get to D.C., they change their votes and they're basically Democrats. Interestingly enough, or interesting how that also only happens in one way. Let's see here. Scrolling down more and more. Elon Musk's Citizen Journalist parody account has a clip from citizenjournalist.org. Now, I'm not sure if this is Photoshopped or not, but it says, Supreme shock, SCOTUS 9-0 unites to keep America on ballot. Biden calls for abandoning the Constitution. Quote, getting 14 likes. Aaron says, quote, removing opposition candidates from the ballot isn't a sign of a healthy democracy. It's a sign of fascism, unquote, getting 17 likes. Which I'm actually surprised there's not more correlations to the Banana Republic somewhere in here. Because that's been trending for quite some time. Scrolling down more and more. Oh, we do have a contrarian statement. Now, granted, only one person liked this, but it is still there. Leanne Carlson says, quote, the Supreme Court has betrayed democracy, unquote. And I suspect they were ratioed, but let's go to the comments. Someone responded with just a clown emoji, and they did ratio them 2-1. Quite literally, the person with the clown emoji got 2 likes. The original statement from Leon saying the court has betrayed democracy got 1 like. So again, it looks like let's see here. Overwhelming support for Vivek's take on this situation. And it'll be fascinating to see, again, how does this affect people in the middle? Because, again, when it comes to politics and moves on the political chessboard, one of the biggest, most important voting constituents are libertarians and people in the middle, who at the end of the day usually do pick a side, which, again, I wish there were more resources and wish there were more options so there could truly be a chance for a libertarian candidate. But it's an instance where you'll have people on the right and you'll have people on the left where, like we said if you're watching the long format show, we talked about the Mark Cuban comments endorsing Biden. There are people who will vote for Biden and vote for Trump no matter what, just because they are a Democrat or they're a Republican. Those votes, you basically just consider those votes locked in. It doesn't matter who's on the ballot, they're just going to vote for that political party. So really, you're really trying to win the hearts and minds of the people who are in that political middle. And it'll be interesting to see how do they respond to this court ruling, this decision, and more of these people who are giving their opinion, whether it's Mark Cuban or Vivek Ramaswamy, how do those endorsements or their take on the situation, how does that maybe sway some votes one way or the other? Now, I'd be interested to hear, again, what your experiences are. Do you have some friends where this is kind of opening up their eyes or changing them, or for left or right? Or do you think everything is kind of baked in and people are going to vote how they're going to vote already and this doesn't change? As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up and thumbs down or a comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.